100,000 years ago, it found its way into our galaxy.
This thing doesn't want to show itself. It wants to hide inside an imitation.
Hey everyone, welcome to Half-Ass Movie Reviews. I'm John.
And I'm Matt.
And today we're here to talk about 1982's John Carpenter directed The Thing. But before we dive into that, if you are a fan of 4K Blu-ray reviews, or in this case, podcasts, see, we're adding that into the introduction. If you're a fan of that, movie reviews, some tech and game reviews along the way, nothing helps out the channel more than by you subscribing to this channel, liking this video, giving the podcast 5 stars, and then after you do all that, go tell all your friends about us.
Oh yeah, tell them all.
So,
The Thing.
The
1982, John Carpenter. So, you know, we've had this conversation before about Carpenter movies. You're a huge Carpenter guy.
Huge
and
Carpenter.
I like to think I am, but you know what? Every time I watch a Carpenter movie, I'm like, eh.
Yeah, I know you are. And if you guys hear the fan in the background, that's going to go out in a second. It's just,
Yeah, we're in my basement. My basement's heated by a pellet stove, which uses a blower motor to blow the hot air, so it's on its way of shutting off. So any minute you just hear it shut right off. So
Yeah,
bear with us for a few seconds.
yeah, then you won't hear it. So, one of your favorite movies ever is Halloween, which is...
Halloween.
Halloween.
Which is a John Carpenter movie.
Yeah.
So,
Easily his best movie, in my opinion.
I actually think it's The Thing. I think The Thing is his best film that he's ever put out.
You know, this is my third, maybe fourth time watching The Thing, and I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I wanted to love it, and I just don't.
I get that. I can understand that, but it's just strange because you're such a fan of Halloween. And I just feel like Halloween is... I mean, it's just, the acting just doesn't live up to, like, The Thing doesn't have the greatest acting in scenes, given it's got some great actors, but...
Yeah, but you know what? The way you dissect the movie and the way I dissect the movie is much different.
That's true.
So you're looking at acting, line delivery, you know, all the stuff that I guess the Oscars look at, and like what a normal person looks at. Me, I'm a popcorn movie guy. Like I'm there for the entertainment value, the story, which The Thing has a great story, but overall I'm just a big slasher guy. You know, Halloween is just one of my favorites. I love horror movies, and I'm not saying that The Thing was terrible. I just think that Halloween, in my opinion, I get much more enjoyment out of it.
I can completely understand that. And John Carpenter had quite a run here, actually. So in 1978, he had Halloween. And then he also had, not too far after that, he had Christine.
Which I love.
Yeah, Christine is great. Escape from New York, which that's one that you're kind of iffy on.
I've seen it once or twice. I need to revisit it because it's been a long time. But
Okay.
I don't remember hating it. I remember enjoying it.
I like that one a lot, too. And also in there, he had it right after Halloween. He had The Fog. So he actually had...
The Fog is the first miss, in my opinion.
Yeah, that one's not 100% for me as well, but then after he did that, when he did Christine and he did Escape from New York, I feel like he was on fire in all cylinders, and then in 1982, he released The Thing.
And The Thing, again, it's not bad. It's a great winter horror movie.
Yes.
There's just some... I just felt like it got a little boring. Maybe, I don't know. I've been pretty busy this week, and, you know, so I've been a little distracted, and I had my phone in my hand during the movie, so maybe I got a little distracted, and it's kind of hard, you know, but that kind of says something because we watch a lot of movies here, and it's very tempting to pick up your phone. It's very rare that I can sit there and watch a movie without touching my phone, and it's
It's a real testament, actually. The phone thing is a testament to it.
But you know what? There's a hack to it, and it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because if I got a big old bowl of popcorn or a snack, I could watch that movie and concentrate all day while I'm eating. Eating makes anything better. However,
Well, that's the ADD in us. I was actually thinking about this the other day. Like, you know, you got to get like a stress ball or like one of those fidget spinners because your mind just always wants to do something with its hands.
I'm not sure what to do with my hands.
I
don't
guess
know why.
that's what it is. I don't know, but like I'm just, let me look this up. Oh, let me look this
Yeah,
up.
you do see faces and you want to grab it. Like,
Well, it's not even that. I'm looking at parts from my car, or, you know, I'm just...
Oh, you're just all over the
I'm
place.
all over
Yeah.
the place, yeah. So, I don't know. That is the ADHD, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have ADHD,
Yeah.
but
Well-
I'm sure you do too.
oh yeah, 100. I got diagnosed with it. So.
But anyway, let's jump into the thing.
Yep.
We tangent enough.
So The Thing was released on June 25th, 1982, which actually came out the same year I mean, not even the same year. It is the same year, but the same month as a bunch of other movies that came out in 1982 in the sci-fi horror genre. That includes E.T., Poltergeist, The Wrath of Khan from Star Trek. All that came out in June of 1982. Blade Runner.
Solid year.
Solid month.
Yeah.
Like, if you imagine going to the theater.
Solid month. Yeah,
That's all 1 month of 1982.
Wow, that's all. I thought you were saying the same year.
No, that's all June of 1982.
Holy cow.
But this raises a question. Why would you put The Thing out in June?
Yeah, it's a winter movie.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, like, I don't understand. They do that a lot. You know, there's a couple Halloween movies that came out in August. Like, I don't know. Me and you were big into, like, the seasons. Like, you didn't even want to watch this until it got cold out.
Yeah, I like to tie stuff into like that.
Yeah, like, I don't want to watch this when it's warm out. It doesn't feel like a warm movie. So, all right, we're going to dive into The Thing. So, The Thing...
Well, I have a quick question.
Okay.
It had a $15 million budget.
Yep. Oh,
Okay.
this is a bomb.
And, okay, it is a bomb.
Yeah.
Because it only made $19.6 million, so there was a profit, but... So this is considered, I was going to ask, how is this received?
Yeah, most John Carpenter movies, especially at the time, were all considered failures. Actually, that's why after Big Trouble in Little China, he stopped working with big studios because all his movies would bomb. People didn't start really liking John Carpenter until like the 90s. They're like, oh, he's the guy who made Halloween, and that was really it. Even The Thing wasn't considered a classic until way after it was released.
See, I think I fall into that category.
People had to revisit it, and then they started reestablishing how good it was. It just kind of got lost in the weeds, like we just said. It was released in June of 1982. E.T. was the movie that month. That was everything that felt, and then Wrath of Khan was big for the Star Trek fans, and then, you know, Poltergeist and this. The Thing was kind of last.
Yeah, I guess I agree with that list. I would probably put E.T. at the top.
You have to put E.T. at the top. And I love The Thing. The Thing is in my top 5 horror movies of all time, but E.T. is special.
So the movie opens up, we see a husky running through the snow.
Before that, we see the ship crash on the planet, and we get that awesome logo where it rips apart.
Yes, The Thing.
Yep, and then we see the husky running.
So that's The Thing crash landing on Earth.
Yes, which is, I guess they say in the film, about 10,000 years before the actual events start in the movie.
Gotcha, okay.
So it crashes into Antarctica, which is just terrible for the
Then we see this poor old dog
I know.
running through the snow, and we have no idea why these Norwegians, that we later find out, are in a helicopter, and he is a terrible shot.
Awful.
Terrible
Honestly,
shot.
they're all pretty awful, because is that the guy doing the shooting? Is that the same guy who goes to throw the grenade and it just comes out of his hand?
Yeah, they're...
Like, what the fuck? I get it, they're a little nervous because, you know, they've been through hell. Like, essentially everything we see in this movie, they just went through. Which is what the prequel is about, is that Norwegian team.
Gotcha, okay.
Okay. And
Yeah, I watched the prequel, and I don't think I like that at all.
I don't like the prequel at all
This is much
either.
better than the prequel.
It is. And it also had a sequel, a game.
Which I have not played, but I might own. I'm looking at my Xbox shelf. I can't see it from here. I know it's blue.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I have that.
Now, one thing I looked up for the first time while watching this movie, when he's yelling at the Americans about what the actual thing is about the dog, he's yelling something at them, and he reveals the whole plot of the movie. You want to hear what he said?
Helvete, kom der vekk. Det har ikke en bikkje i. Det er en slags ting. Det imiterer en bikkje. Det er ikke virkelig. Kom der vekk, idioter!
What do you mean? There's no subtitles?
No, they don't put the subtitles on the screen. So the because they don't want you to reveal a mystery, because I don't know what language it is. I'm assuming it's called Norwegian.
So if you spoke Norwegian,
you would understand
the
this.
whole movie for you.
Pretty much. It says, get the hell out of there. That's not a dog. It's the same. It's some sort of thing. It's an imitation dog. It isn't real. So, like, he's telling them that it's not real, but we don't know that because they kill him. They kill everyone. The helicopter blows up because of that grenade, because the idiot's a horrible throw. I don't know how you make that mistake.
And then he dies on it in the snow, idiot.
Oh, my
Jesus.
God. Yeah, they're not bright. All right, so we get inside and we get to meet our cast of characters led by McCready, played by the legendary Kurt Russell. And I think that, I was trying to go through it, I think this is his best role of all time.
Is it the eyeshadow?
The eyeshadow. My God, you have a big problem with the eyeshadow.
I just don't understand it.
I don't understand it either.
Actually, no, I don't even think it's eyeshadow. I think it's mascara.
You think it's...
that fucking pencil.
Yeah, I don't know if they were just trying to draw you to his eyes, or they thought, because, I don't know, maybe they didn't expect this to come to 4K, and like, it makes it clearer.
I'm not sure what the thought process and idea. The fan just went off.
Yeah. There's a lot of weird things in this movie as far as like choices. Like the hat he's wearing, the sunglasses. I get it. I've never been to Antarctica, and I'm assuming it's very cold. So I guess the clothes they have to wear fits in perfectly with that. You know, they all got their Johnnies on and everything like that. Mm-hmm. But we meet all of our characters, and the guy who's handling the dogs, Richard Masser. So Clark is the guy who handles all the dogs. So he takes the husky and he cares about him. Actually, I really like this guy. I thought he was a very caring person. He
That's the guy with the beard.
Yeah,
okay.
He seemed like a very warm person, and we're not up to it yet, but he meets an untimely demise when he really shouldn't have. And he takes the dog, puts it in the kennel with all the other dogs after, it's exploring the base for a while first. I don't know if you saw that. So, and we get that last shot before it dips to black where he's in the room with Clark alone.
Right.
Which is to help us, because we don't know who the thing is throughout. We still don't even know at this point what is the thing.
But he gets him in that room.
I don't know. He never gets him. Clark is like the whole time they kind of keep hinting that Clark's going to be one of those
names
things.
and that's where I don't know who was who.
Okay. So
I lost a lot of names.
Yeah, there's a lot, because this is actually a very stat cast of people. You got Wilford Brimley is probably the big one other than Kurt Russell's character. He's the guy with the mustache. He's the guy who's most famous for saying diabetes.
I hope you choose to get involved with a good doctor. Find out some things about diabetes, and you're...
He's the fatter guy with the glasses. He's the guy who ends up, they lock him in the shed.
They lock him in solitary.
Yeah, because he was. So that's Wilford Brimley, who
the first guy who went crazy.
Yes, basically the first guy. He had every right to be. He's a doctor, and he's losing it.
So, question: when the thing gets them or infects them, they don't know.
I don't know if...
Because it looks like they're not too sure.
They aren't sure, because, and that's a lot of questions I have going forward, is okay, the one guy, especially the guy who gets the stuff through his chest, that big scene, he seems like he's, infected, but he doesn't seem to know, and I'm very confused as to when it happens. Now, they do things with the camera where we don't see people for a while, and we assume that that's when they're getting taken over.
Right, but, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out how exactly it works there, because is it kind of like Aliens where it has to touch them and put something in their body?
Well, we saw it trying to create somebody. So basically, I think it explodes out of him, from what I understand, and then just takes it all and then recreates it into...
Because the one guy was like he was having a heart or just chest pains or something, and I guess that was it growing inside of him.
Yeah,
did he not know that it was in him? How does it get in there?
It's a complete... And Keith David brings this up on their outside. If this thing is a complete replica, how would we know? If it's because it's supposed to know all your emotions. You see it attacking that one computer screen that William Brimley's looking at, and you see it just attacking the cells and just completely turning into it. Which I thought was very interesting, actually. And you can see that's why. Imagine being locked in Antarctica with a thing like that. It's gonna win.
It sounds terrible.
Yeah. So when they put that dog in the crate in the kennel with all the other dogs, the other dogs know pretty fast.
Oh yeah, they sensed it right away, and there was an uproar.
Yeah.
In the kennels.
Yeah.
So
McCready pulls the fire alarm, heads down there with the shotgun, and then he sees it attacking all the other dogs with all that stuff coming out of it.
Yep, all the little tentacles and the little...
Yeah, and that's all practical.
Yep.
All those effects, that's what this movie's probably most known for. Is
assuming they probably use air hoses or something. They're probably lines with air in it, and then that's why it's going like that.
I love those sound effects, but he ends up shooting one of the other dogs in the chest, and that kind of makes me upset.
Yeah.
And
sad.
It is sad. I mean, that's one thing. And then they get Keith David's child's character and say, "Hey, bring the flamethrower." Which, why do they have flamethrowers just there? If they're all doing research and everything like that.
Maybe they gotta melt ice or something.
That's possible. Because they had a couple of them on hand, but they have guns and everything. Maybe they don't know what's in the wild of Antarctica, but imagine...
Yeah, I don't know. Antarctica, it's cold, so, they got to warm it up. Maybe it's to start fire. I don't know.
So Antarctica, it's pretty cold there. It's got the lowest recorded temperature of 156 degrees. And on top of that, very hard to survive on 156 degrees. I don't know if you knew that. But they describe it as a... ice desert. That's pretty much what Antarctica is.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So, very hard to live down there. I think it's got a population of in the thousands. Thinking of moving.
You gonna go down?
I would thrive in Antarctica.
You ever see 30 Days and 30 Nights?
I have seen that.
Yeah, that's Antarctica also.
Yeah, I thrive. That's why I've always either wanted to go to Alaska or Antarctica, someplace cold, because if you guys see my skin, for audio listeners, I am extremely white. So me and the sun have never gotten...
Albino, to be exact.
Yes, me and the sun have never gotten along in any shape or form. It's attempted and failed a couple times to kill me. So who always comes out on top on that one?
The sun.
The son hasn't lost yet, I guess.
So they shoot the dogs with they shoot the thing, while it's trying to form into another dog with the flamethrower. They burn it down, then it jumps up through the floorboards above it, and now it is on the loose in the compound, and we don't know what it looks like anymore.
Nope, now it's gone, and they figure, okay, well, something must have happened at that Norwegian base, and they send McCready and one other guy, I believe it was Cooper. They send them, and they go, or was it Gary? It might have been Gary. The two of them, they go there, and they find all of their research, and they find everything that they've been doing, and they get a hold of some tapes, and they also see where they were keeping it in that big, like, ice box. And they take all that stuff back with them, at the same time as the thing is in the base, just going like person to person, I guess, recreating them, right?
Yep.
And is this the part in the movie where we get that first time where it's starting to take over somebody? Well, you know, actually throughout the base, they do some good character development. We see those two guys watching that one show, smoking a joint. So we get to see what they all do. They're playing cards, like all of them. The one guy's in the kitchen cooking. He gets mad at one of them for throwing their... And did you notice that? They're like shitty long johns.
Yeah.
Like somebody shit in them and then threw them out, and he brings them in there and throws them, and McCready's just looking at it like, I wonder whose these are.
So
it's like, throw them out!
They got fucking skid marks all over.
All over it, everywhere. Just throw them out. Start a fresh pair. Like, you're an animal. They head off, so like we get to see all that, and then the first guy who looks kind of like you if you grew your hair out and had red hair, that bald guy. Oh, one thing we didn't talk about was the autopsy scenes. There's a couple autopsy scenes throughout. There's times when William Brittley's character is like going through and he's like comparing them like a regular human. Norwegian was a normal person, no drugs and no alcohol in them. And then the thing that they were cutting up, and he's like, the noises he's making, he's pulling.
Yeah.
It's like, what we got here is a regular set of organs. But as you can see, that ain't no dog.
Yeah, because it was in the middle of its metamorphosis.
Yes.
But it didn't have time to complete it.
Nope, and we see that again where it almost had time to complete, and that's when I was talking about the guy who looks kind of like you because he's going bald, and he's still somehow, for some reason, is growing his hair out. He's got that red beard, and then he's out in the woods. Well, not in the woods. He goes out into the snow, and he's not fully transformed. He hasn't gotten his voice yet, and he's got the hands. He's like...
The one they lit on fire?
Yeah, they had to.
When he ran through the wall? Oh, that's later in the movie.
That's later in the movie, but this one...
There was a lot to take in for me, so I'm gonna just...
Yeah, I'll guide you through it, because as we get there, like, we can see, like, he's still got... You remember he got the hands? They weren't done yet, and he's, like, standing there with them like this? He's actually in the movie Manhunter also in a very small part, this guy.
I missed this part completely.
Really? You don't remember? I always remember because the sound effect he makes.
It's not ringing a bell for some reason.
And then after they kill him, light him on fire, they run back inside, and Gary goes up and he's like, he's like, I've known Bennings for 10 years. He wouldn't be that. Like these characters they're all fleshed out pretty well. Like the guy Windows, the guy doing on the walkie-talkie, trying to get somebody on the horn. He's trying.
Yeah, I haven't talked to anybody in months or whatever. We could be the last ones or something like that.
And he's like, we're 1,000 miles from nowhere, man. Well, and Gary's like telling him, like, well, keep trying. We got to find somebody. That's what really makes this so scary to me is they are in Antarctica. Like the rescue team doesn't come till the spring. It's the first week of winter.
Right.
And winter in Antarctica looks just like summer in Antarctica. The highest that Antarctica can get is 50 degrees. So they ain't coming in there until pretty late.
Right, yeah.
So they got to try and survive with this.
And they're in the middle of a storm.
Middle of a snowstorm. Those are some of my favorite scenes too, is when McCready's by himself with the tape recorder.
One other thing. I think it rips through your clothes when it takes you over. Windows found some shredded long johns, but the name tag was missing.
And he's like just telling them everything. Actually, early in the movie we skipped over it. The only female in this entire movie is the chess game.
Oh, the computer?
The cheating bitch.
That he pours the thing in?
Yeah.
Right.
I love McCready though. He's up there. He's like, I just want to head up to my cabin and get drunk. Like he's just, he's the helicopter pilot. Like all these people have their own jobs. They're all there for like different reasons. You know, the guy takes care of the dogs. There's the guy who's a biologist. The guy who's a doctor. You know, they're all there. Someone handles the guns. Someone handles the radio. That's why there's so many of them. And it is hard to keep track of all their names throughout.
Right.
And I've seen this movie like 100 times, and I still go like, I still was like looking. I'm like, okay, what's this guy's name? Is that Cooper? Is that Gary? Like, was that Windows? You know, all these guys.
Yeah, I have a tough time with that. So
even Keith David, because I know you know who Keith David is. He's Childs. He's one of the last two at the end, and you know him from plenty of movies. He does a lot of voice work. He's actually he plays the president on Rick and Morty still. He's in Something About Mary. He's the dad who he comes in there and he's like...
I'd have to see his face.
Keith David. I'm going to show you his face. And then he's also in They Live. He's the one who has the 15-minute fight with Roddy Piper on the street.
Oh, okay.
So he works with John Carpenter.
That's all you had to say.
Yes. Well, you know what it is with him? He was a really good-looking guy in the 80s, and he's gotten older, and I guess we all don't age gracefully.
Yeah.
Not everyone can age like me and just grow into a better-looking man. Everyone usually ages worse.
Right.
I age like a fine wine. I'd be a $1,500 bottle of wine in 5 years.
Yeah, I disagree with that, but moving on. Where are we now?
Well, we just killed, what's his name? Bennings. So Bennings is his little job title is meteorologist. So he's keeping track of the weather. So he doesn't have that hard of a job because weathermen are allowed to be wrong a lot.
Correct, yes.
So his job is...
Always wrong.
Always wrong. So after all this, and they started looking at all the footage of everything, and then they see all these Norwegian teams, which is actually pretty funny to me. Like, we're going to get nothing out of this. They're like, there's 9 hours of tapes. And then immediately after he says that, we see them blowing up the ice to get...
Yeah, it just is conveniently...
right at that exact moment.
Edited, and then it stops. Oh, and this is how they did this. Oh, and this... They just get all their answers.
All their answers.
Right away.
Even the film is, cut up perfectly. The camera... I love that in movies. The best is when a movie has a security footage, and it's the same exact footage we saw with, the best camera lens. It's like, wow. It's nice that they somehow, in 2023, my job itself can't have camera footage that you can see clear 5 feet in front of it. But in the 80s, they had security footage that looks like it was on film.
Or when they put news in the movie that just tells you what's going on in the plot.
That's one of the laziest ways to, and the laziest exposition delivery ever is through news footage. That movie Guardians I saw, that's how they move the plot along. It's ridiculous. So after seeing all that, they decide, all right, well, let's head back to where they were doing this research. And I think it's a few miles northeast of the Norwegian base. And they see this big, giant spaceship open that they blew up. And they blew it up perfectly. They made a perfect circle around this thing.
Little green screen there.
No, I don't think that's a green screen. I think that is a painting that they're standing in front of. A lot like they did with Star Wars movies.
Oh, okay.
They make these big matte glass paintings and everything like that, where it makes it look like there's something huge behind them. You just do something with the camera, and it's very fascinating because there is no computer generated images in this movie. It's all practical effects, everything. It's 1982. Look at what Blair is working on the computer he's working on. That thing that they're showing the cells, that computer is a piece of shit.
All the green screens with the just ones and twos, yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing that's gonna help them really. That's the best of the technology they had in the 80s,
Yep,
I think the Apple II was the biggest computer at the time.
That was it.
So, once they come back and they figure out, okay, there is some sort of alien creature here, and we all do not trust each other because this thing can completely imitate anything, right down to the cell, personality. We will never know what exactly this thing is. And they just call it a thing because that's what it is.
No name.
And it's only one alien. And basically, the cells themselves, they don't even die. You can't, you got to burn it completely, and if just a little bit escapes, it's just going to keep going. And we see that when they have the body covered, you can see the blood just lick it, then that's it. It just needs one cell. We get a lot of shots in this movie where they're building all this tension and the sense of dread, and we haven't talked about it yet, and that's the score to this movie, which was done by Ennio Morricone, who a lot of people probably most know from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. They did the score on that. Dun, dun, dun. You've heard The Good and the Bad and the Ugly score. Yeah, it's one of the most famous scores ever.
It didn't sound like that.
I know.
Yeah,
no, nothing.
I apologize for for John over here.
So Ennio Morricone made that score, and like I told you, the Hateful Eight actually used a deleted song from the soundtrack on their score. It's very funny because, again, just like the thing, the Hateful Eight takes place in the snow where they're locked in a cabin and you don't know who to trust. It's very similar to that, and just like in that, I just love a blizzard outside in a movie. I think that's phenomenal when they do that, and this movie really captured that, the cold and the dread, and the score really does an amazing job. I actually think that this is probably the best score in a John Carpenter movie, and it's funny because John Carpenter himself didn't do it. Oh, yeah.
Halloween is much better.
Yeah, I agree. Halloween has probably one of the most iconic scores, and I've had that as my ringtone. It's great. I guess you're probably right, but I think this one does a great job of building the dread.
Not bad.
I think he does a good job, really helping the...
Just a bit underwhelmed with this movie.
I know you were, and it really bothers me, because I really think that this was a great movie.
It's not terrible. It's really not.
No, and then, these people, these guys, they're all starting to not trust each other now. At this point, we've reached the point in the film where...
Everyone's paranoid.
Everyone's paranoid, and the most paranoid is William Brintley's character of Blair. He fought, like I said, he was looking at that computer, he sees what this can do, and he can't trust anyone no more. He grabs a gun out of his desk, and he just starts destroying everything in the room, which I don't understand completely, because I get it. I think he's doing that for the best of humanity. He just feels like they're all going to die, so at this point, fuck it. Just destroy all of our stuff. This is the best we can do. We have no choice. So he starts shooting the gun, and then, he's firing at everybody. He's got windows cornered, and they're like, this is where, McCready, he's the leader. He okay, Childs, go over there and talk to him. He's like, you guys go over there, grab a table and charge at him. So when the axe goes into the table, they were able to,
pull the axe,
knock him down, and McCready beats the shit out of him a couple times in the face. They lock him up outside, and they're like, dude, you gotta stay out here. They give him some medicine, and this is some good acting by William Brintley. He's like, watch Clark. Keep an eye on Clark. That's the guy with the dogs.
Yeah.
And again, they keep trying to let us know, it's probably this guy Clark is probably the thing.
But it's not.
It's not, and it never is. And that's what makes his ending so sad, because he never was. And he's actually just such a nice guy. I really like the actor who plays Clark. I thought he did a great job. And they start moving along pretty much, just, again, still very untrusting. They're all trying to stay together. So they lock him up. They all are just staying in one room pretty much the entire time, keeping an eye on everybody. They start doing some research. A couple guys head up to McCready's room.
That's his cabin up on up on the hill.
What do you think of the base itself? It's kind of like a small town.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big camp.
It's a big camp. It kind of reminded me like a small town in a western almost. Because they all have the cabin. They said that's where they locked up Blair, was in a tool shed. They have the big main base where they're in with those big old containers, which I don't know what they keep in there, but I remember my dad's job had a ton of those. Those barrel things on the floor that are almost like cardboard. I don't know. It's just
barrel things on the floor.
They're for storage. They're brown, almost like a cardboard color. I don't know what you would keep in that, but they have a bunch of those on the base. The set design is awesome. I love this. The color, it's very gray and everything like that. And actually, it's funny, an X-Files episode basically spoofed this or satired it.
You know what? I thought about X-Files while I was watching this also.
X-Files did a complete recreation of this episode. And
X-Files probably did it better.
I love that X-Files episode. I believe that's a season 2 episode. And, we're huge X-Files.
Early X-Files,
yeah. The first few seasons of the X-Files are phenomenal, in my opinion, right? That's some of the best stuff that they ever did was on the X-Files.
Big X-Files guy, yeah.
Yeah, and David Duchovny, actually really funny, just watched a movie called You People. He popped up in that.
Did he?
Yep, and like I said, he's kind of getting a little old, it feels like.
Well, he is probably pretty old.
Yeah, his line delivery, he felt a little bit like he was burnt out. His line delivery was a little strange in this movie. But he still did a good job. But we're not here to talk about You People. Check that one out, though. It's a good movie. So we're continuing our plot. All these guys, they're all, like we said, not...
So they went to check out the cabin, right?
Yeah, they checked out the cabin.
So it looks like the team debates whether to allow McCready back inside.
Well, you remember the one guy comes inside and he's like, oh, McCready, because they found his ripped up... And we know that it tears through your clothes, so they don't trust McCready. But McCready, man, this is an awesome shot. He takes the dynamite, he takes the flame, it's a flare, and he's like, I'll blow us all to pieces if you don't let me back. And he's got that snow in his fucking beard. My God, that's an awesome shot. It's just being lit by the flare.
And a lot of mascara on.
Yes, he's still got the mascara on, but his beard is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was just frozen.
It was frozen, and his hair is great. Kurt Russell's a good-looking guy. Didn't need the mascara, but good-looking guy.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, he's threatening him. Nobody trusts him. Childs, the most of all, doesn't trust him at all. But yeah, he's got the dynamite, and he comes up with a plan. He's like, okay, I came up with a test we can do. Now, first, the blood got drained out. Somebody knew that, one of the things knew that they were going to try and do something with that blood, and he drained it all out of the fridge.
Well, they somehow got in there with the key, the lock and key, and then locked it back up when they were done.
Yeah, I can't figure this one out at all, actually, because the people that actually...
They never tell us either.
They never do, and the people who would have had access to the keys at this point both weren't a thing. So either the thing somehow knows how to use keys perfectly, because I guess they get, when they duplicate the cells and they make a brain, they're like, oh, I know how to use keys now. So he swiped it and drained the blood and all that. But McCready comes up with a test. He's like, I know what we can do. I got a test we can do. So they put all the blood into these, like I guess they're like vials. Petri dishes, right? Mm-hmm. And he's like, these cells want to survive. So the only way they're going to survive, if they see something hot in there, they're going to run from it right away. They're all living cells. All cells are living, but these cells fight back.
Right.
So he's like, okay, let's test them out. And they're going through.
He's heating up the wire, and everyone puts their blood in the petri dishes. They go around, and he tests everyone's blood one by one.
Yep, and
who gets caught?
But actually, before that, this is when we see Clark's death, because Clark goes to punch Kurt Russell in the face, turns over, shoots him right in the head, and kills him. And then when they tested his blood, it's revealed he was fine. So Clark. This is the guy that all throughout the movie, Blair warns us about, like, he's probably, and when we first shoot him, we think, oh shit, there it is. He is a thing.
Well, he thought it was Clark because he was alone with the dog. With the stray dog.
Which makes sense. I wouldn't be a little trusting of him too, but when he goes to punch him and he dies, and like a child's line, this gets me every time. He's like,
And Clark was human, huh? Which makes you a murderer, don't it?
Which is, it can be understandable in this situation, but when you got everyone tied to the couch like that. So Palmer, he's the one guy, so the second his blood starts to fight back, he starts shaking and with the rest of them on the fucking couch, and they gotta burn his ass to death. And they do. Mm-hmm. They do. They kill him, and then they gotta go back and test everyone else's blood still, and everyone else passes. Everyone passes. They go outside to test Blair's blood, and what do they know? Blair's, he's in there, but he's a little fucking freaked out. And this is where he's already a thing. Like, we also see a rope hanging there. Did you notice that? I don't know why that was. Like, he was going to kill himself. I have no idea why that was placed there, but it is placed there.
Like a noose?
Like, it is. It's a noose. And it's right in frame, like, to the right of his head. And I have no idea why.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, so, again, he's speaking calmly, so he's already a thing at this point. I don't know how he turned into a thing. Do you think he was a thing before this?
It infects the blood somehow? Like, just a little slice that doesn't have to put something in there? Who knows?
They gotta be alone with you. That's the thing.
Well, they don't have to be alone with you. It's just they have to...
They need time, though. Like, it doesn't just transform that easily. So it needs time. That's why the other times when we've caught it transforming, that's why they're able to kill it. It needs a little bit of time, and you have to be alone with it. So that's why Blair... There was plenty of time to transform him into a thing. And he starts building his ship underneath. Pretty smart, honestly. Mm-hmm. The thing, I think, might be a smarter species than us.
Maybe.
Right?
Who's to say?
I don't know, because I'm guessing at this point it has to be, because it knows how to build its own ship. It's been buried and frozen for 10,000 years, so 10,000 years on Earth. We weren't that smart 10,000 years ago.
No.
We weren't smart 100 years ago. We're a very primitive species, so...
We're not smart now.
No, we're not smart now, unfortunately. I'm smart, but nobody else is.
Wrong.
Okay. So they head down there, and they notice, oh shit, it's building a ship. And the only person that didn't come with them is Childs, played by Keith David. Mm-hmm. Then this is actually the point in the film where we see its full creature design. It starts blasting through the floor. We see its teeth and everything.
Yes.
What did you think of the creature design?
It's not bad. It's pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
I like that it was all practical and.
It looked gross. It was.
Yes, but damn, I can't think of the word I'm looking for. It's just. I liked the design, the detail they put into it. I enjoyed the character model.
Yeah, we actually didn't talk about earlier in the scene where we didn't talk about the scene with the defibrillator. This is actually something. People have said this is the scariest scene that they've ever seen on film. Why? I don't think it's that exactly. Now again, we weren't.
It bites off his arm.
Yeah, we weren't around in 1982, so. Okay, we'll give a little bit of a pass to everybody else. But, like, it bites its arms off, and you hear the sound effects. And the sound effect sounds like Play-Doh or, like, goo just ripping off. It doesn't sound like arms ripping off. Now, given, I've never seen anyone's arms get ripped off their body.
I would say Halloween is scarier than this.
So do I. I don't think this movie is scary at all. And this was hyped up to me as one of the scariest movies you're supposedly supposed to ever see. It was this and The Exorcist. I think The Exorcist is way scarier than this.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I don't know. I don't understand why they consider this movie so scary. It's thrilling. It builds a great sense of dread. But I don't think this is a scary movie. This would never make my top 10 scariest movies I've ever seen.
No way, no how.
If anything, it's more of a sci-fi horror film. Mm-hmm. Right?
I agree with that, yep.
Yeah, so after that scene, and then they're down there, and they end up fighting with the monster, essentially, or the alien creature, because this is an alien film, let's be honest.
Yep.
It's probably the best alien film ever, in my opinion. Even better than Alien or Aliens.
Way wrong. Alien is leagues ahead of this.
Wow, no, this would be my number one alien film of all time.
That is crazy to me.
So they end up blowing the thing to pieces. They kill it.
Like this over Alien?
I do like this more than Alien. I love Alien, don't get me wrong. Alien has better set design. It has a better sense of dread, I'll admit, because they're out in deep space. But
It's a better movie in every way.
no, it's not a better movie. This is a better movie. This is just, I love this movie. I told you. This is a special one. Maybe I'm not doing the best job of describing this movie, but it is a special movie. Everyone who's seen this movie knows that it's
I
special.
just watched it last night. I'm having a tough time with the recap here.
But after they destroy it, the only two people left alive through this entire ordeal of events is Keith David's Childs and McCready, played by Kurt Russell. McCready's beautiful hair and mascara survive, and Keith David comes down there, and this is what I was trying to tell you. For the longest time, this movie has been debated, who's the thing in the end? Is it Keith David's character? Is it Kurt Russell's character? Now, they're both going to die if they're both human, because they both know there's no way they're going to survive. It's the winter, they have no heat. That's it. They're done. So they're just going to sit with each other. But I know who the thing is, and it's really obvious to me.
It just fades to black.
Yeah, but they're sitting... Well, the score plays over it, and they zoom out into where we see the whole base and everything.
Well, he goes, what do we do now? We're just going to sit here and see what happens.
Yep, and that's it. And you were disappointed with that, right?
Yeah, what the fuck is that?
Well, I know who it is.
How?
I just know.
You talk to Carpenter?
Nobody will reveal it, but it's obvious. Throughout this entire movie, it's Antarctica. It's fucking freezing, right? So... we always see their breath throughout the entire movie because your body is running at 98 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's about -10 to -50 out there. They're fucking freezing. Keith David walks over. He's not breathing. He's breathing, but we don't see any of his breath, right? We see plenty, and they make sure to linger on Kurt Russell for a while. We see plenty of his breath, and we don't see Keith David's character's breath. Keith David's the thing. Well, that's my interpretation.
That's your interpretation.
There is no official confirmation. That's just me watching the movie going, I find it strange that we don't see his breath at all. So you disagree with me?
I don't disagree, but I mean, I wasn't looking for that. I didn't catch that. So I can't really speak on that, but it makes sense. It's a good argument. Did we notice, now that you know that and you've seen the movie more times than me, do you ever see anyone who was the thing, do you see their breath?
I was looking for it, and I didn't notice that. Now, for the rest of the movie, now it could be an overlook, it could be an oversight, but it's the end of the movie and they spend so much time on Kurt Russell's face, and they made sure to put his breath in while not making sure to put Keith David's breath in, and it's the last scene of the movie. I can't imagine John Carpenter, being John Carpenter, going, that's a mistake in his film. I don't believe that. Now, I also don't know how the body works, so maybe he came from inside, his breath isn't reacting immediately. I have no idea. I am not a scientist, I'm not a meteorologist. I am a forklift operator who also has a YouTube channel and a podcast, and that is it. So don't trust my word on the science on that, because it's probably
So this
wrong.
is speculation. We're not entirely sure,
No.
but it's a good speculation and could very be the truth.
It's a speculation I have believed for years.
Okay.
I've always believed that Keith David's Childs that's it. That's, for me, that's the be-all, end-all. He's the thing. He's going to survive. He's going to find his way. He's going to freeze. And then this team is going to come in the spring, and they're going to, dig up all the bodies, bring them back to, I assume, America, because they're an American team, and they're going to do some autopsies, and this thing is going to take over the planet, and by 1984, in this universe, everyone's dead.
Okay.
That's my interpretation of the end of this movie.
Okay, well, that's not bad. I guess that's canon now.
Yeah, it's canon on Let's Talk, that's for sure. And as being the neighborhood smart person on this show, I think it's fair.
Okay, anything else you want to add?
I do have some stuff I want to add about, now that we're done with the movie. I want to talk about Kurt Russell.
Okay, let's talk about Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell, he's one of the best actors of all time, yes or no?
Yeah, he's great.
This guy started in the 70s as a child actor. He played Elvis. He's worked a lot with Carpenter, but in the 80s he did movies like Overboard and everything. And, he did all those...
What's your favorite Kurt Russell movie?
So, I think it's The Thing, but hear me out. We were just talking about this. His best movie for me might be Backdraft.
Backdraft.
I love Backdraft. He plays Steven, Ron Howard movie, Robert De Niro, one of the Baldwin brothers. I think it's Steven. It's either Stephen or William. No, it's William Baldwin. Billy Baldwin.
Now, do you get Kurt Russell and Patrick Swayze?
No, you
mixed
brought this up before. I don't see that, other than the mullets.
Yeah, I can mix them up very easily.
One thing that always bothers me is when a man has the capabilities of growing out an awesome beard like Kurt Russell does, because he has this awesome beard in The Hateful Eight, which is weird. Again, we were just talking the Morricone score, and it's just kind of like the thing. Kurt Russell's in both. So, but he has the capability of growing out this awesome beard. But throughout the 80s and early 90s, he always shaved, clean shaven.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Me neither, especially when you can grow out a beard like that. Like, I need a beard because I have no chin, so I need a beard to cover that up.
Yeah.
Or else people will think I look ridiculous.
Covers up the ugly.
Yes, exactly. And you know, it makes me look good. Look at me. I'm a 10 out of 10. I'm a 5-star man. Now you need a beard too because you're fat, you're balding, you're not that attractive, you're short, you got ridiculous hands. Just the whole thing. So you need a beard to draw the attention away from that.
Right.
Yeah. I don't really need that, but I don't have a chin. It's my biggest weakness.
Right.
Now, Kurt Russell, he has this beard. It just doesn't make sense that he would ever shave it off.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't like shaving.
I don't
Hurts.
I don't have that problem. It doesn't hurt.
Doesn't hurt your neck?
I use a buzzer.
Oh, okay. Well, when you use a razor...
I haven't used a razor in 15 years.
Oh, I'm just saying, if you ever did, it hurts your neck.
Why don't you just use a buzzer, and then you could avoid this whole problem?
Well, I'm just saying, the couple times that I've shaved, like, because I've had jobs where I've been required to shave my face.
That is true.
And you have to be clean and that might be in the future for me.
Oh yeah, Matt's been accepted to be a police officer, actually, we can reveal to you guys.
Not quite.
Not quite. He's got some work
We're undergoing investigation.
to see if it's worth it. So hopefully he hasn't said anything on YouTube that's going to get him disqualified. One thing you should worry about definitely is the ugly thing, though. That's a big one for you. So John Carpenter, moving off of him. So other than Halloween, what other John Carpenter movies do you love? Is there any that you love?
Christine.
Okay, so that's in the early 80s.
I'd have to look at his filmography.
Well, just read off the top of my head. You know, you got Big Trouble, Little China, which we both agree is in his best. You haven't seen In the Mouth of Madness yet, which is another great one from him.
I haven't seen that yet.
But you have seen Ghosts of Mars and Vampires, which are like some of his worst, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't really like those. Ghost of Mars is okay. Vampires I did not like.
You never seen Escape from L.A. Escape from New York is amazing. That's one of his best.
Yeah.
Oh, Assault on Precinct 13. I think that's amazing.
I like the remake more.
I forgot you like the remake more. That's ridiculous that you like the remake more.
Just like it more. I don't know why.
Oh, the original. The remake is good, though. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you.
Yeah,
Lawrence
it's great.
Fishburne,
Lawrence Fishburne, yeah.
Ethan Hawke. No, it is a good movie. It's just not as good as the original.
I disagree.
Okay, you're allowed to have your opinion, even if it's wrong.
Anyway.
Yeah, so there's not much else on The Thing. Like, this is a good movie. I love this movie. I think it's one of the best movies ever made. As far as even in the horror sci-fi genre, it won't crack my top 10 all time. I don't know if it cracks my top 20 all time, but I've seen a lot of movies. But as far as in the horror genre goes, I think that this is a top 5 horror movie ever made.
I mean, some people will agree.
Some people should agree. I think that it's just hard for me to... It's definitely John Carpenter's best, in my opinion. Now, my top... As far as horror movies go, I think my top 3 are Candyman, Poltergeist, and The Ring. Those are my top 3 horror movies ever made.
What?
Yeah. I know, they're all over the place, right?
Yeah, I mean, those would not even be in my top 10.
All those? What is your favorite horror movie ever made? Is it?
Probably Halloween, yeah.
Probably Halloween and Scream, right?
Scream, yeah.
Well, you love the slasher genre more than most people love the slasher genre. I like that sense of dread. I like to go into a horror movie and I want to feel fear. I like that, I like the paranormal horror movies. I like it when there's something like this. They're trapped. There's no way out. They have no choice but to face this monster. They can't get away. Like, the big thing in a lot of horror movies, especially in the slasher genre, they're just stupid. These people are very smart.
Love slashers.
I know, but they could get away
all the Screams are amazing.
The Screams are amazing.
Most of the Friday the 13th are
I agree.
fantastic.
Nightmare on Elm Streets.
Oh, yeah.
John Carpenter, other than Halloween, has he really ever made another slasher? I think he played around in a lot of different genres, but I don't think he ever made another slasher movie.
Yeah, I think that's what it is for me.
And he's the father of the slasher, pretty much. I mean, Black Christmas came before this, but...
Great movie.
Yeah, it is a great movie. And I'm really upset I have to wait till Christmas to watch the original again because I love Black Christmas. I don't have anything really else to say about The Thing other than to say that it's a perfect film in my opinion. I think it's a 5-star movie. I gave it 5 stars on Letterboxd.
We could say it's a good 4K.
It's a great 4K, speaking of which. We have that right here. This is a universal 4K. Me and Matt both watched this 4K. I upgraded from my Thing Blu-ray that I saw.
You can get that pretty cheap on Groove.com.
You can, and it's a great 4K. Now, it's not a perfect 4K. I think we both agreed on this, right?
I would have preferred Dolby Vision.
Yes. Now, that is actually my biggest flaw with this. This is actually the old Blu-ray. I own this Blu-ray separately, and I have the 4K right here. Now, the 4K, its biggest flaw is with the HDR. It doesn't handle the blacks perfectly. It handles them well. This is a big upgrade from the previous Blu-ray, where it had some color issues. The snow kind of looked not as white. The snow looked pure white in this. Looked just like they were in the snow in all the snow shots. I think they did a great job with that. The skin tones, sometimes. Now, it's a 1982 film, source material, so that's probably why it's not 110% perfect.
Yeah, it looks great, but I just find that when a 4K doesn't have Dolby Vision, it's just not quite up to par for some reason.
Dolby Vision, for the most part, there are some exceptions, like the movie you reviewed earlier this year, where the HDR10 was better than the 4K Dolby Dracula. Yeah, Bram Stoker's Dracula. The HDR was actually better, and I believe it was the same thing with Super 8, if I'm correct. That had better HDR10 than Dolby Vision also.
That's also preference.
Yes,
I
think Dolby Vision handles blacks better. I think it handles darker scenes better than HDR does.
I think it handles everything better. The colors are more vivid, the darks are darker, the brights are brighter, and the contrasts between the colors, everything works better with Dolby Vision, in my opinion. I'm a Dolby Vision guy. Whenever I see something doesn't have Dolby Vision, has regular HDR or whatever, I'm like, that's a bit upsetting. Because also it changes the bit rate and all that stuff, too.
It does. It does. Dolby Vision, I agree. I 100% agree, is better. And it just handles blacks better. That's the big thing I always notice when I go from HDR to Dolby Vision, because I have Dolby Vision only on my C2 because my 4K player can only play Dolby Vision, because as we know, the Series X can't do Dolby Vision for discs. So I'll test out the HDR or the Dolby Vision on a lot of stuff, and the thing I always notice is that the Dolby Vision is just always darker than HDR10 or HDR10 Plus. That's just what I always notice. So I can still recommend. This is the definitive edition of this. There is also a Zavvi, I believe, 4K Steelbook with this in it, which is also really nice. I can recommend. I don't really have too much else to say about The Thing. Do you have anything else you want to say about The Thing?
Nope, I think we're good. So that's going to about wrap it up for us here on episode 2 of Half-Assed Movie Reviews.
I hope we didn't half-ass it.
Well, if we did, that's why it's called Half-Assed.
Yeah, we get it gives us a pass. So for everyone who just discovered this show for the first time, it is available on YouTube and on all podcast services. So if you want to find us either on YouTube or on podcasts, just search Let's Talk Entertainment and Media. Look for that purple logo that we got. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate that. And on YouTube is where you can pick our next video review that we will do, or audio review, for Half-Assed Movie Reviews.
Yep.
I think
put out a poll.
Yeah, we'll put out a poll. We're going to keep Terminator 3 in there. I don't know what the other 3 films are going to be yet, but we'll pick after the video and we'll decide, and just come to the page and search for it. Actually, by this point, it already would have been picked because this video comes out on Thursday, and we need to know by Wednesday what we're watching. So, anyway, find the YouTube page, like it, subscribe to it, find us on podcasts, like it, subscribe to it, give it 5 stars, and nothing would help us out more than by you doing that. And nothing else helps us out more than by you going out and telling all your friends about us.
Matt?
All right? We'll be seeing you around, guys.